Welcome to tutorial 3, Introduction to the Bone Tool. The Bone Tool was first introduced in Flash in the CS4 edition. It has some problems which apparently have been improved in CS5 and CS6. However, it's an interesting tool that allows you to create motion more easily than the traditional or classical method, which you will also be taught. Alright, as usual, turn on the action script 3. Now there's your work area or stage. Adjust it to the size that makes it as big as you can possibly have it for your particular screen. For me it's 180. Yours it may be something more or less depending on the resolution of your screen. Once again, you should have your toolbar. It may be on the other side. I think when the default position is for the toolbar to be on the right hand side, I happen to prefer to have it over here. And remember, the properties of the tool you pick will show up on the right hand side. Now, one thing I suggest you do, but it's not compulsory, is to show the grid on the screen. That is the horizontal and vertical lines. It just gives you an idea of ratios or dimensions. It doesn't have actual values though, so go View, Grid, Show Grid. If you don't like that, that's okay, you don't have to use it. And we're ready to start. So the first thing we want to do is draw a side view of an arm including a 3-digit hand. So we're going to use the pencil tool. Now for the pencil tool I want to set the size of it. Instead of 1, change that to 4. It gives a wider brush. The color, whatever it is initially, you can open it up and change the color. I think black is probably better because it'll give us good contrast. And your arm should look something like this. It's a cartoon style, so don't worry about exact. Give an exaggerated elbow. Then we go down here to the fingers. There's 3 digits. All cartoon characters seem to only have 3 digits, and there's the thumb, the exaggerated thumb. The lower arm, give them a bit of a muscle. And for the upper arm, we're going to give it a real Popeye muscle. And you've got to go right back to where you started. Good. There's my version of a hand and an arm. I could have made it smoother. You can change that setting over here. Mine at the moment is 50%, but it's too late now. Could have smoothed it out more, but I can live with that. Now let's fill it in with some color, any color you like, but don't make it a dark color. So turn on the paint bucket, and when you do, at the moment it's the same color as the outline, black, which I definitely don't want. I want a light color. So pick any light color. I'm going to pick a light brown for the filling. I think it's brown. Oh, gray. I don't like that. I prefer brown. Let's see. Well, that'll do, whatever color it is. Just make sure it's a light color so that the bone tool can show up easily. Okay, we've got our basic arm, upper arm, lower arm, thumb, fingers. Turn on the bone tool. The bone tool is over here, and you've got 2 choices. There's the bone tool and there's something called the bind tool. Notice there's always a letter after the name. That allows you to use the keyboard to turn on the tool. So if you use Control X, you'll get the bone tool turned on. So I'm going to click the bone tool, and when I do, notice what appears where my mouse pointer is a bone and a plus sign. Okay, I draw my first bone down to the elbow. Now what that means is the upper arm is going to be the main rotation point. That's where so if you were drawing a body, it would be in the center of the body. So we want it to rotate at the elbow. I continue and draw another bone to the wrist, and then each of the digits is going to be able to move. So I'm going to put them there. Now you'll notice all of these bones or link points are purple. If they are a different color, like if one is purple, the next one's blue, and so on, it means it's created a new layer. Look down here on your layers section, and you'll see you've got your original layer 1, but now turning on the bone tool has created a new layer called armature. If you have several armature layers, it means it's actually put the bones in different layers, which you don't want, so just use Control Z and go back to where you started and try it again. So all of our work is being done in the armature layer now. Go down to cell 80, and I just want to copy what we've done in cell 1 to all those cells. Click on cell 80, right click, and we want to insert a frame. You notice some of the settings there are not highlighted, which means that they won't work at the moment. So insert frame, there we go. Now to create motion, what we do is we go to, in this case, frame 20, right click, and insert pose. This is very similar to the motion tween, except that it uses a mathematical method involving vectors, that mathematical quantity you should have met in math class or will meet in math class. Insert a pose there, and when it does, it creates a little dot in that frame, in frame 20. Go to frame 40, click on frame 40. It doesn't have to be exactly 40, but if possible. Put another pose in, insert pose. Go to frame 60, insert pose, and last, go to your final cell, cell 80, right click, insert pose. So we've got 4 poses, or 4 dots at 20, 40, 60, and 80. All of them are identical at the moment. Now, I'm going to get you to turn on now the onion skin. Remember where it is? The onion skin's over here. It allows you to see the whatever is in the previous cells. Click on it, and probably when you start out it will look like that, just a red dot there, but it's got 2 little handles on the side. Grab one of the handles and move it back, say to 75. So we're still, and then go back to cell 80, frame 80. Turn on your move tool and grab the elbow, and you'll notice the selection tool rather, it allows you to move the whole arm. So we'll put it way back there. The arm is bent backwards. Now I want to be able to see the lower part of the arm, and notice what you see. You see the previous frames, what it has done is create motion. From the original frame 75, it's moving it up and up and up and up. So it's showing you it's done the work for you to create the impression of motion. Grab the wrist, raise the wrist up. And there it is. Once again, multiple layers are showing. Now you can get rid of that. I'm going to turn that onion skin off by grabbing that little ball and pulling it over so I can only see the one layer, so it's not confusing. Grab the digits, fingers, and spread them out. Watch what happens if I cross one finger over another and release. It'll leave you both images, which is okay. It's alright. And your distorted thumb, there we go. Hopefully your thumb looks better than the thumb I created. So what we have done is between cell 60 and 80, we've created a whole bunch of images. Now let's go back to cell 20. Cell 20 is in its original position, same as in cell or frame 1. So frame 1 at the moment and frame 20 are identical. Turn on, if your move tool, selection tool is not on, which we're using for moving, then turn it on. Let's move the arm straight up. And I'm going to straighten the arm out by grabbing it at the wrist and pulling it that way. Thumb back a bit, trying to grab it there, it's slowing down. Grab the thumb, pull it back. Notice you can see some of the cells after this. I'm going to go back down to the onion skin. I don't want to see the cells after it. I want to see the cells before this. Okay. Move that finger up and move the other finger up. The bone that you are working on, or the part of the object that you're working on that's going to move, will turn some other color, in this case green, when it's active. Go to 40, frame 40. So remember, let's just see where it was back there in frame 20. Drag your onion skin right back to 20. So that's what it's done. In frame 20 it's up here, and by the time it reaches frame 40 it's all the way down here back to where it started out. Except I'm going to grab the elbow, go back to make sure frame 40 is on, grab the elbow and move it right up. It's giving me a problem. Well, it's still working on it, I guess. It is a fairly complicated function, I guess, for it to manipulate the limbs and draw all those intermediate shapes. I'm going to grab it at the wrist and bend it like that. I'm going to leave the fingers as they are. So there we are in cell 40. I'm going to turn off the onion skin. Just grab the little ball on handle on the side and pull it over. Go to cell 60, our last one, and it's as it was in cell 1 because we've not manipulated it yet. And if you remember, in cell 40 it was way up there. I'm going to leave it where it is pretty well there, and I'm going to pull this down straight that way. Now part of this won't appear because it's going to be off screen, but that's okay. I'll just splay the fingers, spread them out a bit. Cartoon characters don't mind that, it seems. And leave the thumb where it is. Well, let's just see what we've created. Well, let's turn on the onion skin first of all. And when you turn on the onion skin, I'm going to drag it right back to the beginning. You'll see a whole range of movements. It's showing what's in all the previous cells. Quite complex, really, going up and going down. I'm going to turn off the onion skin because that's kind of confusing. So I just clicked in the onion skin down there. And go now Control Test Movie. Notice it's off the screen part of the time when it went outside the grid, and it's showing the movement of the beautifully drawn arm, hopefully, and the crossing fingers at one point. Now remember, you can change the speed of that. I'm going to stop that. You can change the speed. At the moment it's 24 frames per second. Let's slow it down. Where it says 24 down here in the bottom, highlight that. I'm going to change it to 12 frames per second. Click outside, and now look at my Control Test Movie. So it's in slower motion now. You can either speed it up or slow it down. It just goes through the cycle again and again and again of motion. Beautiful? No, but an interesting way to create motion? Yes. Where the fingers cross, you actually end up getting a sort of a white area. It can't fill in the area, it can't quite figure out what you want. There you go. And that's the end of the introduction to the bone tool. Save it as Tutorial 3, the moving arm, in your tech folder. Thank you.